you are using wire mesh, then you would need some snips, some wire snips. And what that does is it's a wire mesh that you would nail down with roofing nails. So the same kind of nails you use to put down shingles, you would use for this. Or if you have a compressor and a pneumatic nailer, then you can just staple it down. But you have to do a lot of these. I'll just hold one up for you in case you didn't see it real good. So it's got a big flat head. These are also called tire snippers or tire poppers, and they're the ones that get stuck in your tire because they sit up real well. And these are your snips, in case you didn't get to see them. And there's some bigger versions of it, and you can use whatever, but that's the idea, to snip through your mesh. You can also use your angle grinder to cut through the mesh, and I've seen a lot of guys do that. A bit more dangerous, but it works well as well. Obviously you need a hammer if you're going to put the nails into the wire mesh. So just any hammer. This one is a company called Estwing. Love their hammers. Really soft, really comfortable. They are on the higher end price, but once you have a good hammer, you'll never go back to anything else. If you're going to use concrete, you want, and I talk about this in the video, we do a tiled floor of concrete, use what's called a cold chisel. And basically it's just a regular chisel, but it's got a bigger end to it, and it allows you to cut through concrete real well. And you don't want to use a regular chisel because it'll just destroy it, but a cold chisel can take that abuse. So that's what you want when you're doing straight down onto concrete, if there's any bumps or anything like that. If you have a perfectly flat concrete floor, don't worry about it. You don't really need anything. You just start laying, and it's great that way. We talked about the different kind of tiles for your trowel. If you're going to go with the bigger or heavier tiles, you want to use your 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch trowel. So that's what this one's for. It's not essential unless you're getting into that kind of thing. The other time that I've used it and been told it's very important is if, say, you're going on top of tile. So if you already have tile down that you know is sturdy, but you know for whatever reason don't like it, instead of ripping it up, you can put tile on top of it, and then you want to use 1/2 by 1/2 to give it that extra strength and just for there's various reasons, but that's when you use 1/2 and 1/2 inch trowel. Tools I wanted to mention, I talked about the carbide cutter, so I went and got it for you. Here it is here. It's just a tool with a blade on both sides. One is the rougher cut and one side is the sharper cut, but basically you just use one side, and that's how you use to score the backer board with. This is what that tool is for. And we talked about the cold chisel. I want to show you what one looks like. There's some bigger versions of it. But basically it just looks like a regular chisel, except it's a whole lot stronger. The metal is a different material, and it's not nearly as sharp as a chisel, because if you have it too sharp, it'll just dent right up, and that's what a cold chisel looks like. If you get into cutting your transitions by hand, and we'll get into transitions later on, you want to have some sort of blade to cut them. So it's a steel blade for cutting. It's for cutting steel. All blades are steel, but this one is for cutting steel. Very small teeth, and it used to hack right through. Now, once you use this tool, you can also use an angle grinder. So just depending on how you want to go. If you have the angle grinder, anyways, that works well. Once you cut it off with this, you'll need to have a file of some sort to file off any burrs that stick up, because you don't want that. You don't want people catching their feet on or anything like that. So these tools go together. Whereas if you use the angle grinder with a regular blade on it, just a regular angle grinder blade, one tool will do it all. The regular chisels are good for scraping off any mortar or grout that comes up. This is a nice little tool to have. You can use a 6-in-1 tool, but when you really need to get down to the sharper nitty-gritty stuff, this one works well. You can use your cold chisel, but I find this particular chisel, which I have left just for tiling, that's all I use it for. I obviously don't use it for wood because it's just too dull now. Use it for that. Another thing to use, you can use just a flat screwdriver. That works well too. Now this tool is something for angles. You don't need this, but it will help. If you're trying to figure out how to get around an angle and how to measure and mark it, and it just gets confusing, this tool, you just set it up to your angle, if this is an inside angle, and then you tighten it, and there you have your angle. Set your tile on top, mark it out, and then you're all done. So that's just some extra tools I wanted to let you know about. And now we'll shut down, get all the materials together, and then we'll see you in a second.